What's going on, space nerds? It's me, Justin, back with another episode of Nerd Space News, episode 3. So let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So today's video, we have a lot to talk about. We have news on ULA, we have news on Rocket Lab, SpaceX, and even a new aerospace, or a relatively new aerospace company to talk about. Let's go ahead and get started. So I wanted to touch up on ULA, or United Launch Alliance. They are currently building their next generation super heavy vehicle right now, or SPV for short. It's going to be called ULA Vulcan. Has a really cool name, similar to the Aston Martin Vulcan, which I love, and it's an amazing sound of that V12 engine. Anyways, so Sierra Nevada Corporation, they have already purchased 6 flights on the Vulcan. Even though it has never even flown, they're pretty confident with their 100% track record from ULA that it's going to be successful. So these launches are going to be starting in 2021 for the first flights of ULA. It's going to be pretty exciting. I can't wait to cover those footages. So next I want to bring up Rocket Lab. I'm sure many of you guys have probably already heard, if you guys do pay attention in space and space news, they are announcing, or they announced already, they are going reusable. So their Electron rocket, which is pretty cool, it's a very small rocket, it's about 60 feet tall. Actually, I believe it's 56 feet tall, compared to a Falcon 9, which is 250, 260, I believe, maybe a little taller than that. Anyway, so you get the idea. It's very small. It launches very small satellites for about $5 million into LEO, or LEO. So they are going reusable. And the way they're gonna do it, and I'm gonna put the video that Rocket Lab shared with us during their announcement, so that way you guys can actually watch it. It's pretty cool. And at first I thought it was a bit crazy the way they're gonna try to do so, but then I looked in the history and did a little research, and it looks like this method has been going on for years and years, and it has been successful. However, you know, there is a possibility of failure. So basically, once the first stage rocket comes back down, it's going to have a series of parachutes that's going to be slowing it down to a certain speed. There's also going to be a smaller line off to the side where they're going to have a helicopter basically swoop in with this large orange triangle. I don't know exactly what that's called. You'll see in the video. It's going to swoop in and basically catch that line, and basically it will catch the entire rocket, and they're going to fly that to a nearby very large ship, so that way the rocket can be safely landed. That's how they propose their reusability. If they can do it, I believe they will success. They are going to be testing out some new stuff on their upcoming launches, especially 9 and then launch number 10. They said you're going to see a large change to the first stage core. They're basically reading all the data so they can get their first reusable test hopefully successful. There's a lot that goes into this, but even the US Air Force in the 1960s practiced this method. Other companies have practiced this method. So with practice, they can do it. I'm not doubting them. It did seem a bit far off having a rocket falling, even with parachutes attached, and just getting caught, you know, seems a little bit far off. And oh, what happens if a line gets caught by the helicopter? Then you got not only a very expensive rocket falling to the ocean, but now you have a helicopter pilot that could potentially, you know, be in a life-threatening situation. So anyways, I can't wait to see their first, you know, tests. As we know, like SpaceX, you know, with their landing, it took them many tries. So I don't think they're going to get it in the first try. However, you never know, but it will be pretty cool to see. Alright guys, now we are on to the new, or relatively new, aerospace company that I wanted to bring up and talk about today. This is Firefly Aerospace. So this is their website. If you guys go to firefly.com, you'll be greeted by this website right here. So Firefly, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up is I think they have a lot of potential. First of all, they're here, headquarters are here in Austin, Texas, which is a couple-hour drive from where I am in Houston, so it'll be pretty cool. You know, they're local here, Texas, so I do like that. They're a small company that have very nice visions of, you know, opening up more options to small sat network, actually. So let's get to it. Let's talk a little bit, you know, about their vehicles and then about them itself. So here is this is actually the Alpha rocket, as you'll see right here. Let's actually take a look a little more into it. So when you go here, you'll see, you know, the Firefly Alpha rocket and all the descriptions and kind of an overview of the rocket itself. It reminds me of SpaceX's website, actually. So here we go. We have the second stage right here. It can do 1,000 kilograms at LEO. That's basically 2,200-ish pounds. So that's a decent sized satellite, I would assume. You know, it's still small. It's not huge by any means, but you know, it can get up a relatively, I guess, large-ish size satellite, you could say. It does use one Lightning engine, which is pretty cool. It's a turbo pump, and it is a RP1 and liquid oxygen propellant, so it's just like SpaceX's Merlin 1D engines. This one is going to be used for, you know, optimized for the vacuum of space, so I imagine it's going to have a lot larger nozzle. And here's a first stage core. It has 4 Reaver engines, so they did switch up the engine from Reaver to Lightning, so they're not necessarily copying SpaceX, you know, by doing 4 Lightnings on the bottom. Once again, it is liquid oxygen and RP1 fed, and it has a burn time of 295.6 seconds, which is pretty cool. And here are some of the engines right there. Now, let's go to Beta, and this is where it gets a little interesting. So Beta is essentially 3 alphas, just like a SpaceX Falcon Heavy, which I thought was, you know, it's a smart design. You don't have to design an entirely brand new spaceship. You can just make some small modifications, you know, for example, the attachments for the boosters on right here on the center core, and then it does have a lot larger payload capacity with a larger fairing. The shape is not necessarily my favorite right here. I don't like how it kind of gets larger, but I understand why, so they can take a larger payload with a larger fairing, you know, so it makes sense. It can do 4,000 kilograms, which is, you know, roughly 8,000 plus pounds, so pretty nice. It has 1 Lightning. Now it's called a Lightning 2 engine. So I'd imagine this is a normal Lightning engine that's kind of uprated, more power, you know, to handle a larger second stage, probably producing a little bit more power, and maybe, you know, maybe they fine-tuned it a little bit better. Same propellant. And then here we have the 3 Alpha Stage 1. So once again, it's going to have a total of 12 Reaver engines. Now these are still Reaver 1, so I'd imagine they're exactly the same as a regular Alpha. And it can still burn for the same 295.6 seconds. So this is Beta. Pretty cool rocket. If they make this and it actually flies, it would be pretty cool to see a mini Falcon Heavy, in my opinion. Thirdly, they have Gamma. And this is pretty interesting to me. So at first glance, it reminds me heavily of an SSTO, or a single stage to orbit aircraft, or I guess you would say spaceship at that point. But apparently it's not. So, and I'll tell you why. They say, you know, first stage here and then a second stage. In my opinion, it's still an SSTO, which, if you look back in history, really have not succeeded at all. There's been numerous accounts. Everyday Astronaut produced a great video on a lot of SSTOs that failed. Some got close, but I'm not saying this will fail at all. It could very well be a success with our modern day technology. I did want to point out, uses some Aerospike engines on that first stage. So those are basically jet engines. They're kind of hard to explain, in my opinion. They're like a jet hybrid rocket engine, pretty cool. And then looks like their second stage is a purely rocket engine, so that'd be pretty nice. And here is the payload, 5,000 kilograms, which could be, you know, about a little bit more than 10,000 pounds. So that's pretty impressive also. Wonder how large this thing is going to be. One thing that I really thought was funny about this rocket is they even mentioned SpaceX and Blue Origin. I'm gonna highlight that here. These are pretty much their big selling points. It's very different from SpaceX. You know, it can launch anywhere on a runway, any airport, so that makes it very versatile. It's safer apparently. You know, it's not doing vertical landings, it's landing like an aircraft, so I guess that's safer, but at the same time, SpaceX is able to nail that and there hasn't really been any issues. I guess, you know, with, of course, I still love you on the drone ship, if it tips over, that could be a safety issue, but that is kind of rare. I do enjoy this shape of the vehicle. It looks really cool, it looks very futuristic. It looks very modern. I just like it. Looks sleek. So if they make this also, this will be pretty cool. Okay, lastly we have SpaceX, and we got quite a bit of news to dive into. Kind of broad, nothing too crazy detailed, as they're just kind of quick points. So first of all, the 2 NASA astronauts that have been chosen for the first crewed mission on the Falcon 9, which is probably going to be launching in early 2020. Sorry, there's a fly somewhere. Anyways, they have been seen at Hawthorne at SpaceX's headquarters trying on and getting the custom sizes for their spacesuits so that way they can be prepared for their first mission. They were also testing the capsule, getting in and out of the seats, all that cool stuff. But most importantly, I really like those spacesuits. They look so much nicer. They're also a lot smaller than like what NASA uses, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they do look a little more comfortable because they're not as bulky. But like I said, I don't know if that's a good thing. You know, I know NASA has a lot of stuff in their suits for good reasons, so like I said, I just hope they're safe for the astronauts. Part 2, SpaceX and Starship and Starhopper. So as you all know, they completed their 60-meter hop. Elon tweeted, hey, the 200-meter hop's gonna be in just a couple days, you know, more like a week and a half after the initial 20-meter hop. Well, that's still being delayed, still hasn't happened yet because they're still waiting on regulations from the FAA to be approved. And we're hoping it's gonna be, you know, hopefully it's within the next 2 weeks because I really want to see that 650 feet hop. It's going to be awesome. And this follows into Starship because they were going to do Starhopper on 24th, Starhopper on the 22nd, Starship presentation on the 24th. But now that it keeps getting delayed, Elon actually just tweeted out saying the Starship presentation may be pushed back even further, which I'm kind of bummed out because I wanted to see the new update, if maybe they change out a design on Starship. Every year he does this and it's just interesting and cool to watch his new plans for this crazy vehicle that I can't wait to see. Next with SpaceX, we have the Amos-17 mission. Now this mission was flown about 2.5 weeks ago. It was a success to basically launch one of the really large satellites from Israel. And this launch, it was kind of sad to watch because they actually expended the Falcon 9 center core. Now that was as planned, and I'll put that video on the screen for you guys so you guys can watch it. It's pretty cool. Maybe even a link in the description, that way you can just check it out on SpaceX's website, or channel, sorry. But it was a success as expected. They also caught the fairing again. So this is the second fairing catch by Go Mystery, and they have actually recently added another ship called Go Mr. Chief. So 2 boats to catch the sides of the fairings. So that way it's going to save SpaceX estimated about $5 million per fairing catch. So they're doing everything they can to bring down their cost and make everything reusable. That way they can make their prices the cheapest they can be. As we know, SpaceX is a company, so they are looking to get the advantage over other companies so that way they can win more contracts, make more money, and become even cheaper, which, in my opinion, I don't think it's a bad idea, especially if they want more customers and funding. Sorry, that was the fly. For Starship.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
That wraps up for today's video, guys. Sorry it is a bit long as we have quite a bit of videos and websites to check out, but I thought it was pretty interesting. It was fun making this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. Lets me know that you guys like the content. I'm gonna kill that fly. Anyways, I missed, but whatever. I also do have a Twitter. I'll put the link in the description for you guys or on the screen, probably both. Check it out if you guys haven't already. Go ahead and follow me there. I'm not too active yet, but I'm trying to get that up. Anyways, that's really about it, guys. Stay tuned for next video.